The acclaimed Danger of a Single Story by Nigerian author Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie is a 2009 famous TED Talk that brilliantly looks into and explains how stereotypes are created and how they negatively affect society. She claims this single story affects people from getting the full picture on things to truly develop as a world. To help you understand where the Nigerian is coming from, we are going to delve into the subtle ideas of this speech as they are impressively explored in the 2018 Hollywood blockbuster Black Panther. Yes, behind all that awesome action and big budget magical imagery, this movie takes a lot of clever shots with its witty characters, remarks, twists, literal devices, racial reversals, ironic dialogue.
Okay, is this Wakanda?
No, it's Kansas.
And incidents that appear to satirize that one-minded view of the West towards Africa, i.e. that single story. And today, in this memesy African 10th special edition today, let me take you through this exclusive journey back to Wakanda in this presentation of the philosophy of the danger of a single story and the satire in Black Panther. Section A. The Western Media. It is no secret there is some type of way the West perceives and portrays Africa in its media. I'm just gonna be blunt here. The continent is surrounded by heaps and heaps of redundant, even nasty generalizations and stereotypes.
My American roommate was shocked by me. She asked where I had learned to speak English so well and was confused when I said that Nigeria happened to have English as its official language. She asked if she could listen to what she called my tribal music and was consequently very disappointed when I produced my tape of Mariah Carey. She assumed that I did not know how to use a stove.
On the real though, still for many people in this day and age, believe it or not, the only image that only comes to their minds when you mention the word Africa to them is this. These generalizations are attacked in the film from the get-go. From the first scene, the movie makes it clear to the viewers that Wakanda is no poor country. They are rich, like filthy rich. They have a spaceship transport system, huge vibranium mineral deposits, breathtaking skyscrapers, an unrealistically solid health system that unrealistically resurrects people from the dead. Technology that is clearly well ahead of all the so-called first world countries. But what makes this world even more interesting is that the rest of the world has no idea about it. This immediately establishes the setting that is used to satirize Western media. The Western media, the most powerful media in the world, believe Wakanda, like the rest of Africa on paper, is extremely impoverished, self-insufficient, and very backward. This is, as Nigerian Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie puts it, is their version of their single story. In many instances, many of the white characters look rather redundant and foolish because of their belief of this single story. Right from the get-go, Black Panther addresses this real-life African stereotype with this BBC News report.
Though it remains one of the poorest countries in the world, fortified by mountain ranges and an impenetrable rainforest, Wakanda does not engage in international trade or accept aid. The succession of the throne is expected to fall to the oldest of the king's two children, Prince T'Challa.
Now, you see the ridiculousness of this report because you already know as the viewer that Wakanda is rich, which automatically makes it grossly inaccurate and just plain false. This is so way off the mark, it feels like they are talking about some entirely different made-up country, because this isn't the Wakanda we have been authentically introduced to as viewers. I mean, with all the technological prowess and beautiful views Wakanda has, these are the best images they could draw from the nation? Like seriously? The West is so immersed in this idea of a poor third world African country that it makes them fail to notice the precious vibranium mineral that is hiding in front of them in plain sight.
With all due respect, King T'Challa, what can a nation of farmers have to offer the rest of the world?
I guess they can offer some fine animal skins, I guess, yeah. Of course, Wakanda is highly secretive and protective, but this rigid stereotype plays a huge role to blinding them from something that could greatly benefit them. Because I know I ain't no economist or anything like that, but come on. What kind of idiot believes that a nation could actually survive without any form of international trade? I mean, come on, come on, right? That is one danger of a single story. It makes you overlook the value of other people, even when it is staring at you right in the face. Chimamanda talks about this when she gives an example about her childhood houseworker called Fide.
So the year I turned 8, we got a new houseboy. His name was Fide. The only thing my mother told us about him was that his family was very poor. My mother sent yams and rice and our old clothes to his family. And when I didn't finish my dinner, my mother would say, "Finish your food. Don't you know people like Fide's family have nothing?" So I felt enormous pity for Fide's family. Then one Saturday, we went to his village to visit. And his mother showed us a beautifully patterned basket made of dyed raffia that his brother had made. I was startled. It had not occurred to me that anybody in his family could actually make something. All I had heard about them was how poor they were, so that it had become impossible for me to see them as anything else but poor. Their poverty was my single story of them.
This is the same thing happening in Wakanda. The wealth and potential this nation has to the world as a whole is neutralized by the single story, a character that is used to represent this Western perception of the demeaning single story is American agent Everett Ross. Now, Everett Ross in the beginning of the film has disrespectful tendencies that tend to look down on Wakanda as just a helpless third world country.
I give you Zemo. Didn't I keep it under wraps that the king of a third world country runs around in a bulletproof catsuit? I'd say we were even. You really need to leave now.
You see what I mean? This is another good example of the blinding effect of the single story. I mean, it doesn't sound odd to you that someone walks around with a bulletproof suit? Hasn't it ever crossed your mind of what that bulletproof catsuit may be made of? When someone even so much as to suggest that Wakanda has even a decent level of resources, the idea is immediately dismissed, such as in this scene when he is interrogating Claw.
What do you actually know about Wakanda?
Claw here might as well also be metaphorically saying, you only know a speck of Wakandan affairs, the people, the culture, the intellect, the society, and the system too. Because just like their real-life counterparts, they really don't know.
Shepherds, textiles, cool outfits.
As an African myself, this scene could have easily come off as offensive, but actually, it was actually rather funny. This is because you definitely know they have vibranium in their deposits. They literally walk on these things, right? And yet Agent Ross is saying this.
That's a nice fairy tale, but Wakanda is a third world country and you stole all their vibranium.
Okay, that's why you're still poor and they just easily wired your ass before you went in for that secret interrogation. You would think that this misconception would easily offend them. However, the Wakandans surprisingly don't seem to be angry or insulted by these stereotypes. This is because they are probably used to this false demeaning narrative, and more importantly, it has worked for them to protect and conserve their own version of a single story, a story they have kept since all of their ancestors were alive. The essential reason the Wakandans maintain their composure like South Africans, aka, is because they too self-righteously believe, unlike them, the rest of the world is chaotic, violent, broken, and it is best they continue to marry in this demeaning perception that they have nothing to offer to them, so they can leave them alone and in peace. They believe the rest of the world can only affect them negatively, so they rather just keep their world under wraps. To other nations, they are just mere bystanders who do not help others, including those who really need their help. They do not help other poor nations in need or even allow anyone who is not of Wakandan blood in their borders. That is why they imprint this blue DNA thingies, just to make sure their nation remains refugee free. Oh, I know someone who would spend good money to use this technology. There is no such thing as illegal immigrants in Wakanda because they don't allow immigrants in the first place. Well, because
refugee programs.
You let the refugees in, they bring their problems with them. And then Wakanda is like everywhere else.
As I said, this is the Wakandans' version of a single story.